because HighGuard came out. Oh no! Did he get
Uh-oh.
shunted again? Zero, no! Come back!
No!
Don't go into the light!
Not again!
No, Zero!
Oh.
Hello, everyone. So Zero, if you might be wondering why there's a current blank screen or whatever our editor is inputting into my left, Zero was shunted into the Shadow Realm by Craigbot. He is gone. Rest in peace. Yeah, his Wi-Fi is his #1 enemy, and has removed him from this recording.
Dude,
but we're gonna continue because
we're gonna need a third new co-host.
New co-host. Oh God! But we're gonna keep it going because it's rather late at night and we need to get this done. So
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about HighGuard. HighGuard made its kind of anticipated release earlier this week or earlier this weekend. It was this past Friday, I believe the 29th. And it came in with a lot of skepticism. Obviously, it was the last game announced at the Game Awards. It got a lot of kind of hate for that because it was seen as slop. Something of a lot of AAA developer devs making a smaller company and then releasing something that didn't have a lot of character to it. Was pretty much the sentiment. And upon release, I did give it a try. I gave it a try the first day, and there was a couple of issues. But honestly, I thought it was pretty good. Unfortunately, there was also a massive wave of negativity that went towards it. Within the first couple hours of the game being released, it had an overwhelmingly negative review on Steam. Now, if it was an actual, like, given a good honest try and people did not like it, I could see that and I could even justify that. And honestly, if it was a very expensive game, I could see that. And I put a whole tweet about this out, a very lengthy one. But I kind of find it ridiculous that a free game was released and it was confirmed later that they actually did not pay for that spot. Another game developer was supposed to have the final slot for the Game Awards, but that game actually got delayed. Which meant there was an open spot. And apparently Jeff Knightley, the guy who runs the Game Awards, enjoyed HighGuard and was there for some of the original playtesting. So when it came up and that was an option to be released, he slotted it into that final spot. Or the Game Awards slotted into that. So they didn't pay for that spot. So very frankly, I think it's kind of ridiculous. They didn't pay for it. They didn't really want that final spot, which I feel like is very obvious, being by the fact that they did not release any social media posts until 2 days or like the week before the game dropped.
Yeah.
They were not prepared for that level of spotlight and certainly not level of criticism. And the thing that gets under my skin is the fact that when you go and look at those reviews, I remember scrolling through for like 5 minutes, just scrolling through all of them. And I did not find a single one that had more than 2 hours played.
Yeah.
I saw very few that had over an hour. And when I checked on the day of, I think at like 24 hours, only 6% of reviews had more than an hour. And they were overwhelmingly negative. There was a lot of people who pretty much downloaded the game, got in, tried the tutorial, went, I hate this, left and gave it a terrible review, which I feel like is a terrible thing for the gaming community at large to do. Like I said, if this was a $60 game and they released it in the state it did, I would be personally upset. If they went out of their way to get that really important slot and they kind of come out with slop that didn't have a lot of character, I would be upset. But very frankly, I think the game is pretty fun. I thought it was a little empty at 3v3, but they're now introducing an experimental 5v5, which I think actually is fixing a lot of issues. And there's a lot of talk about it being very good. But they're making changes. They're making changes that the people, the fans, the player base are requesting of them. I think the game runs pretty good, despite some people having some stability issues. But they're also already making adjustments in some recent patches to fix those. I think they're doing everything right, and I think they're in a pretty good spot. Again, it's a free game. But if you really don't like game, the reason to just mass downvote it, essentially.
Right.
It's a free game. If you don't like it, uninstall it. It's as free to uninstall as it was to install in the first place. I don't
Yeah.
have points. I'm just rather annoyed in general. I feel like we are in a very interesting place in the gaming industry, and just seeing a new IP and going, no, bad, down, I don't like you and I don't want you to be a game, is not a healthy thing to do. It's one thing voting with a wallet. It's another thing when someone's offering something free and saying, hey, this is a unique take. Let's try this. And pretty much universally going, no, bad,
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, it grinds my gears a lot, honestly, because on the one hand, I had that whole section about in when we did our like Game Awards episode, and I talked about how they should let me run the Game Awards because I know how to pace a show, and like I stand by that. Let me make that clear. I stand by that. I know how to pace a show. I still don't think HighGuard should have been the last slot, but I mean, I was not aware of the fact that like they didn't pay for that until you literally brought it up just now. So yeah, this just feels like an instance of a development team that has been around for a long time, at least in parts. I mean, these guys worked on like the Titanfall games and Apex Legends and such.
Apex,
so they are no strangers to this industry. And Titanfall and Apex are both beloved and very popular games, like to this day. And they wanted to try something different. And I think that's a good thing. I have been a hero shooter fan since like 2016, and I have seen so little variance in hero shooters for such a very long time. There's been a couple here and there that have come out and given their own unique spins and just crashed and burned entirely, and it's made me very sad. There was one that came out a little while ago called Wildgate that I was really excited about, but it died on release because there's a $20 price tag and nobody is paying money to play a multiplayer game in 2026. Like we can't be doing that. It's just not feasible. Everything has to be free to play because Fortnite did it and then everybody followed suit and blah 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 blah. But that's besides the point. The thing that really grinds my gears about HighGuard, because I have yet to play it still. I've been addicted to Deadlock in the last few days, admittedly.
Sure.
So but it just doesn't make sense to me that review bombing is a thing. Like, Overwatch 2, when it got announced for Steam, I think it launched and instantly got review bombed. Because I understand why people were upset with Overwatch 2's marketing and its general planning and strategy and such. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I love the game, but I understand why people were upset. But if it's not for you, then why the fuck do you care about enough to review bomb it? And it's the same thing for HighGuard. Why are you so angry at a game getting the last slot in the Game Awards that you go and you try to intentionally sabotage it? Especially in a genre like the hero shooter where we haven't had a lot of like really fresh ideas in a while. The last game to try that was Concord. We all know how that went. It was it was not a pretty sight. But I mean, I hope the best for HighGuard. I'm still a little hesitant to play it because my PC is kind of out of date and I've heard it's had performance issues. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, if you're watching this and you review bomb games just because you feel like it, don't do that. Like it's actively screwed up, in my opinion, to intentionally try to sabotage the work that people have put into a game, especially one that has probably taken years, like HighGuard. So, I mean, I've always just been very anti-review bomb, like negativity of that sort. So, this whole situation just makes me very upset.
Well, then for the final point of reference for it today, I mean, unfortunately, we don't have Zero, but this is more of a me and you topic anyway, because we are the Call of Duty fans, and the CDL major did end again, like as of maybe 3 hours ago. So
Falcons pack watch.
Yeah, there's a couple of opinions about Falcons getting bounced pretty early in the tournament, but yeah, do you want to take this one on?
Yeah, I'll take it away. So, this was a very interesting major because going into it, there were a couple teams with a lot of expectations and a couple teams with no expectations whatsoever. And it kind of went not exactly how everyone would have expected, but the first matches in winners bracket, they all weren't particularly close. Paris beats Toronto 3-1. Thieves beat Ravens 3-0. G2 beats FaZe 3-0. Keep that one in mind for later. And OpTic beat Falcons 3-0. So all of those teams go down to losers, and they have to play against teams that were already in losers because they played poorly in the opening stage. So down in losers, Toronto Koi and the Carolina Royal Ravens, teams that had just lost, would both end up losing their matches and going 0-2.
Can I cut into the
Miami... Huh?
I believe the Royal Ravens, fun fact, they got bounced by the Vancouver Surge.
Yes, sir!
Which had the worst record in the entire CDL. And fun fact, I was watching it for other content for down the line. I was taking notes, and during the initial opening broadcast, they were like doing all the pregame stuff. And one of the things they showed was they did a poll of fans to see who they thought was most likely to win. Fun fact, there was only one team in the entire CDL that did not get anything. Zeros across the board, and they were tracking to a 0.01 to a hundredth placement. Everyone else got at least 0.01% of people, and they, except for Surge, who got 0, and Puckett on broadcast was like,
Oh, no.
did not even their friends and family say they were gonna win? How do you get 0? And somehow they knock out the Ravens, who had like 2%, and were actually one of the best teams going. So I had
That
to
was
tell
crazy. No, it's so funny. It's so funny because, I mean, as an aside here, the Surge had a really funny stage 1 because their only win came at a reverse sweep at the hands of the Boston Breach, where they kicked the shit out of the Breach in the last 3 maps and then got swept by everyone else. And then they go to the major and they beat the Ravens.
And then proceeded to get absolutely bounced by the next team they play. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's a funny tangent. It's a funny tangent. It's hysterical. So yeah, Toronto Koi and the Royal Ravens would both end up losing their matches to the Heretics and the Surge. Vegas and Falcons, however, the teams that lost in their round 1 up in winners, would manage to win their matches against the Breach and C9 New York. Heretics would end up sweeping the Surge out of the tournament, but FaZe versus Falcons was actually a really, really close affair, going all 5 maps. FaZe would eventually close it out with the help of 04 and Simp, both dropping 8 kills in the final round at the end of Search and Destroy on map 5. That was also not a close Search and Destroy. I think it went like 2-6. One of the best matches of the weekend, in my opinion. Absolutely go watch that one, if for nothing else, to watch Falcons lose. Because again, pack watch. The Falcons. Yeah. Winners bracket, though. Kind of crazy thing about winners bracket in this tournament is the losing teams in all of winners bracket. Amongst all of the matches, the losing teams only took 1 map. And that was in first round. Gentle Mates lost a map to Toronto Koi. But after that point, everything in winners bracket was a sweep. Gentle Mates swept the Thieves in winners round 2. OpTic swept G2 in winners round 2. Winners finals was a 3-0 in favor of OpTic. They booked their ticket to the grand finals by doing that. Meanwhile, down in the losers bracket, unfortunately, Soren, you may need to hide your face for this one. The Thieves would get swept again by FaZe Vegas. I almost said Atlanta FaZe, but no, it's FaZe Vegas now. It was not a pretty sight for them, but Simp was kind of that was a really interesting matchup going into it, because I was like, oh, it's finally like Simp versus Abizi on the LAN stage, which I don't know if we've ever had that before.
I don't think we have, honestly.
I don't think we have, but Simp versus Abizi went pretty convincingly the way of Simp this time around. Yeah, and it sucks. I really do want to see the Thieves end up winning. If I had to pick one team to win champs this year, I really want it to be Thieves. I want to see Scrap win a championship so bad. Dude, I want Scrap to win champs so bad. It's not even funny. Like, it would be hysterical, if nothing else. Meanwhile, on the other side of losers bracket, G2 would sweep away Heretics. But after this point, the losers semis, the losers finals, and the grand finals would all go the distance. FaZe Vegas and G2 Minnesota would go to map 5, and FaZe would take it in map 5. Paris Gentlemates and FaZe Vegas would go to map 5, and Paris would take it, booking their ticket into grand finals with a rematch against OpTic on the cards. And literally right before we started recording, the Paris Gentlemates would win it all 4-3 in a round 10, not quite round 11, but round 10 of Search and Destroy. Neptune, my former Surge boy, would win tournament MVP, and that in particular makes me really happy. Paris is one of those teams that I was really rooting for going into the season because, you know, it helps that they picked up 2 players from that used to play really well on the Surge rosters, whether it be Seattle for Sib or Vancouver for Neptune. And then they picked up, what was it, Ghosty and Envoy from former Siege? Not Siege, what? From former 100 Thieves? LA
Yeah, it's
Thieves?
almost it's almost like 2 players from 100 Thieves left the roster or were removed and then had immediate success on another roster.
Bro,
I'm getting tired of this.
bro, I think we have a YouTube short. I think we have a YouTube short.
You sense the theme of today.
Oh, no. Hey, Zero, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't care
Thank
what
you,
your
Zero.
thoughts are, Zero. Keep them to yourself. I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's so funny. That's so funny. But yeah, Paris, I'm really happy to see them take the first major here. I'm hoping that the rest of the Whoa!
Hello?
You asked for his opinion and he fucking came back
Whoa!
and he's gone. I don't know how much is gonna make the episode if you just cut to us now when we're losing our minds. Just as some of the funniest shit is happening in the background as we're trying to make this 100 Thieves. If you have not sensed the theme, they are dropping players and then immediately they are going on to find immediate success. At the same time, more relevant to Call of Duty and the roster here, I really, really hate to say this because everyone knows I'm a diehard 100 Thieves fan. By Zero. Diehard 100 Thieves fan. And I love so many players, and there's very few players that I love more than Kenny. Kenny was part of the CDL roster that is the Call of Duty LA Thieves roster. Like, when I think of that, that's the team that Envoy, that Octane, Kenny, and Braza. I almost forgot.
Yeah,
Braza
wasn't he on the roster that won the CDL under the Thieves banner?
Yeah, he's a ring winner and a multi-time major winner with it. He's a very decorated player, and that's why I love him. He was one of our best roster ever. I love the guy.
Yep.
It is so difficult as a 100 Thieves fan to watch his performance this last weekend and watch his performance the entirety of last year and continue to go. He deserves a spot on this roster.
Yeah.
Because a BZ is a BZ. He's the new player he's another new player on the roster. And dropping Envoy and Ghosty hurt me because I also really like Ghosty and I really like Envoy. Again, Envoy is one of those players. I fucking love them. Honestly, if I had to, I don't know how the roles would really fit, but if I could pick up Envoy over Kenny, I probably would. I love Envoy. As someone who also was an OpTic fan, and he was on the Huntsman. I love Envoy.
Oh, yeah.
So to see a player that I love so dearly be on a absolutely godlike squad and him being in a hard point against Paris Gentlemates, who are the best in the game at hardpoint, the best hardpoint 1 team in the entirety of the CDL, and us be 20 points away from victory and everyone absolutely frying, and then Kenny being -15.
Yeah,
it hurts my soul because at that
it
point,
hurt.
like you can defend him all you want, but you cannot sit there and say if he does not just go neutral and win a couple more gunfights, that it's
Hmm.
not absolutely in the world of possibility we win that game one. And if we
Yeah.
win that game one, who knows what happened? Because we felt so flat after
Hmm.
that the entire rest of the day we just felt like there was no hope to stay
Yeah,
in.
it
If
was
we
rough.
win that game one, we feel good in game number two. We might still lose, but maybe we don't have that slide. And obviously, I'm not going to put all of it on Kenny. It's on a one-man show. But man,
Hmm.
after having a rough year at OpTic and having a rough year at Rocker, seeing Rocker excel without him, and at the same time, Thieves crash out at the first major when we are known to be demons on LAN, it
Hmm.
really does hurt.
Sucks.
And just to kind of round up my Thieves, I know I yelled, but genuinely, please, God, I'm not a believer in God, but God, if you exist, please just let someone win on 100
Oh,
Thieves rather than
dude,
having them leave,
dude,
please.
it's
It's
painful,
so
man.
bad. I can't explain to you how bad it
It
is.
hurts, man. It
But
hurts.
okay,
Yeah.
but more on the concept. I
Hmm.
think if you're a Call of Duty fan, you have an obligation to watch that grand final.
Oh
Those
yeah.
grand finals were ungodly good. I personally, my ranking was if 100 Thieves didn't win, I went at Paris Gentlemates because again, I really love
Hmm.
Ghosty. I really love Envoy. They were my second team. I'm sad to see them go. So I'm happy to see them
Yeah.
win. Do not get me wrong. So I wanted them to win. And if they didn't win, I wanted OpTic. So no matter what happened, I was gonna be happy. The only two teams I didn't want to see win were FaZe because it's FaZe and Falcons because
Hmm.
they're Falcons. So the fact that we had the top two be one of the teams that I would have been happy with, I'm thrilled. I will say that game seven, like you said, it wasn't around 11, one round decides it all. But in
Hmm.
round number 9, the fact that Mercury is the young gun, the Messiah, wins a 1v2 when the
Hmm.
entirety of the energy's been
Hmm.
sucked out of that home crowd arena and he wins the
Hmm.
1v2. I immediately tweeted if they come back and win after he just does that, he deserves the Messiah moniker. And he still does. He's
He
an
still does.
ungodly good player, and he was one of the statistical dominators the entire tournament. And most of them were. OpTic is a very well-deserved second place team. If they would have won,
Hmm.
I would not have batted an eye. They absolutely deserved it. Also, unfortunately, Paris Gentlemates did steal the timeline of Scump and FaZe Scumpy having a kid the exact same weekend that OpTic wins the major, which I thought would have been very funny, but did
That would
not
have
get
been
that.
very
But
funny.
it would have been very funny. But yeah, if you're a Call of Duty fan, go watch those grand finals. Honestly, this entire major was so fun. I was so busy this weekend, but anytime I wasn't actively casting and like talking or doing content,
Hmm.
I had it up on my second monitor, and it was a thrill to watch. Every single game was good. Even the 3-0s. I mean, the teams that won were playing unbelievably good COD, so they made them
Hmm.
interesting even when they were blowouts. So this was a great major and a great start to the year. You couldn't have asked for more. And next major is a LAN in Atlanta for DreamHack. So, like, it's
You're
only
gonna
going to
be
go up.
there,
And then
right?
I am going to be there. And then after that, it's going to be another
Yeah.
DreamHack because number 3 is DreamHack in Birmingham. And next major is
That's
also
true. I forgot
it's
about
going to be
that.
a
Yeah.
Pro-Am in Atlanta. So Pro-Am in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
we're
I
going to
forgot it was the
have
pro-am.
yeah, it so
Dude.
like we set the tone so high for this major. It's already great. So many teams are really good. And we're gonna be going into an incredible next 2 tournaments. Then we're going to Paris. So we're gonna be getting
Dude,
another EU major
that
during a
Paris
time where
crowd.
Paris Gentlemates are insanely good. And then we're gonna be closing out in Vegas for champs. Like
Hmm.
this year for Call of Duty, also Control. They got rid of Control and they brought in oh god,
What is the name of that
Overload.
mode?
It's
That's it.
Overload. And people are fucking loving it, man. Overload
I
is
like
such a
it.
fun game mode. It
I
is
like it.
such a stark difference from Control of last year. So the
Mm-hmm.
games are good, the teams are good, the game is entertaining to watch competitively. All the game modes are now fun and interactive to watch. The
Mm-hmm.
majors have been set high and they're only going to get better. This is an
Yeah.
incredibly good year shaping up for the CDL. I'm so excited to see it kind of being brought back, and it's no longer in YouTube jail. It's now allowed to be streamed on Twitch. So they're no longer in that partnership. So they'll actually get viewership. So this is going to be an insanely good year for the CDL. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I think that's about it when it comes to Call of Duty. But before we wrap this up, I do have one more headline that we didn't tease, we
Yes.
didn't talk about at all. But this is one that's very personal to me, not really esports related, sort of esports related. I'll explain why in a minute here. But one of my favorite hero shooters of all time that got shut down in late 2023 has been unofficially revived. It is Gundam Evolution. It is finally returned via Side 7, which is a community project to set up servers and host some tournaments and bring back casual matchmaking for the game. This makes me very happy as someone who is both a big fan of hero shooters and someone who has always been an advocate for like game preservation and such. Gundam Evolution was one of those games that really did not get the love it deserved. I genuinely, while it was out, was playing it more than I was playing Overwatch. I adored that game with all my heart, both as like a hero shooter fan and as a Gundam fan. I just love the franchise just as a whole. And Bandai Namco mismanaged it, mismarketed it. It shut down literally barely over a year after it initially came out. But I mean, if you're watching this and you're even slightly interested in hero shooters or Gundam as a franchise or anything like that, please go check out Side 7. It is so cool that the game is finally back. I know I'm probably going to be giving it a go again in the near future here. I don't know if I'm going to hard commit myself to a game again while it's in private servers. I did that once with another game I loved called Gigantic, and I don't know if I can do that to myself again, but it's but no, this is just a little fun piece of news at the end of the episode because we didn't really have any miscellaneous headlines, but please go play Gundam Evolution. That game is wonderful and deserves so much love, and the community that has brought it back has poured so much love into it. They're planning on developing new mobile suits as characters that weren't in the original release
That's
of the
crazy.
game, which is insane to think about.
That's crazy.
Like, this is an unofficial project, not affiliated with Bandai Namco, and they are doing new content, and they're hosting tournaments and casual matchmaking. Like, this is not an effort you see from any other game that gets shut down like this.
I think that's pretty much it. Oh, one last
That's
very
about it.
small piece of information, Call of Duty related,
Oh.
'cause I skipped it. And just so I could yell more about LA Thieves because that's my favorite thing to do here. Just like 3 hours
Oh,
after the
no.
major ended, we're not even like 5 hours past, by the way.
Yeah.
Apparently they're dropping Kenny.
Yeah.
Which they were already talking about picking up a player from the Huntsman, the Challengers team for OpTic, called Neum. So that was already in talks of like in case something doesn't work out roster wise, they'll have it, and it looks like they're going to be exercising that option, at least according to reports. So, yay!
Yay!
But that is going to be pretty much it. Typically, we would let Zero close it out, but Zero's dead. So
I don't see him. Where'd he go?
He's gone.
He's
So
dead.
thank you so much for watching. Again, do you have any closing thoughts, remarks as we get into February here? It's February 1st I'm recording, so next one is
Six
halfway through
Invitational.
February. Yeah.
Six
fair.
Invitational starts in just a couple of hours here. I'm so excited. And it's like the last major championship, like end of year championship of the calendar. Overwatch is going to be starting up again soon. Call of Duty's already back in full swing. Apex Legends is going to be starting up in a few months here. Counter-Strike, the Krakow, IEM Krakow is happening like right now. We didn't talk about that today because they're still in the midst of groups. We'll probably talk about that in a few weeks here. But there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. There's a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon, and you aren't going to want to miss any of it. So make sure you've tuned in to the loading screen, like the video, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell, all that jazz. Hit the bell, hit the fun little bell. And yeah, that's going to do it for us. I've been Gedster, this has been Soren, and we had Zero here for a little while, but he's gone now. Hopefully his internet...
He's in the Shadow Realm.
His internet will hopefully cooperate and not send him to the Shadow Realm next time we record. But until then, thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a good couple weeks.
Bye.